Hey guys, Cinema Sickness here with this week's Weekly Watched, where we take a look at all the titles I watched throughout the week, and I briefly discuss them. Now this is the last week of the Cinema Sickness Halloween Horrorthon. I watched a lot of great titles this week, so let's get right down to it and take a look at everything I checked out. So the first title I watched this week, I don't actually have a physical copy to hold up and show you. That's because I watched my ultraviolet digital copy of this movie. I actually received it from one of you guys. One of my viewers sent this to me. Very excited about that because it's definitely a title I was really looking forward to checking out. And that was The Purge. And now that I've seen it, not really all that good. I was pretty let down by this movie. I remember when the trailers were playing for it, the radio spots were playing for it. It just sounded really cool. It sounded very interesting. And the main premise of the movie just sounded awesome. I mean, one day a year, they have The Purge, which is a 12-hour time where all crime, for the most part, is legal. You can burn stuff down. You can kill people. You can just go on a murderous rampage. And that's the idea. And what it does is it actually has... the whole idea for this is really to kind of... It's to get your anger out. And it apparently has actually dropped crime significantly. Apparently crime is really, really low because of The Purge. And that's, an interesting idea, though some people in the movie mention they think it's more like an ethnic cleansing where they're trying to kill out the poor and keep the rich. People who can't afford to protect themselves are going to die, whereas people who can afford to protect themselves will live, things like that. Apparently, like, some corporations are making money off this and stuff. Apparently, the economy is doing really well because of this. So some people think it's all kind of a conspiracy. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but that's not the main issue here. So again, interesting premise. I mean, the whole idea, and at first I'm watching this movie, getting really into it. I'm thinking, I was getting into it because I was thinking to myself, what if I lived in this world, lived in the world where the Purge was a real thing? I mean, one day a year for 12 hours, you could be killed. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from being killed. I mean, you could try to protect yourself all you want, but in the end, you still could be killed. It's not illegal. Somebody could just blow your head off just because they feel like, I mean, granted, that can happen any time of day, but when there's no repercussions for it, the odds of that happening to you certainly go up quite a bit. So it's kind of scary. It's freaky to think that anything can happen. Your house could get burned down. Anything like that could happen. Kind of freaky. So at first, I'm getting into it. I'm thinking, all right, this is pretty interesting. What would I do in this situation? This is pretty freaky and weird. But as the movie went on, it just kind of got very blah. A great premise, a great idea for the movie, but just not executed very well. A lot of stupid characters doing very stupid things. Just the story wasn't told all that great. As the movie went on and on, I felt myself not really caring anymore. I wasn't getting all suspenseful. I wasn't thinking, oh, this is great. What if I was in this spot anymore? I kind of stopped thinking that. So really, I just thought the story wasn't told very well. Great idea. I would love for a remake of this movie, already. I would love for somebody to say, I can do a better job of this and put it out next week. I would love to see this idea, this premise of one day a year, all crime legal. And what I thought was really cool, I want to point this out, I like how they say, all crime is more or less legal. You can do whatever you want. But they do actually have a few rules. And that was really cool of the movie to do that. I will give the movie credit for that. The fact that they actually threw in some rules of some certain things you couldn't do. For like 99.9% of everything was all crime was legal, except for these few select things. Thought that was pretty interesting in the movie to do, but when all is said and done, like I was saying, the movie just wasn't done that well. It just wasn't executed very well, and I think the movie could have been a lot better had maybe somebody else been behind it. But when all is said and done, really good idea, just not executed very well, just not told very well. And in the end, I have to say, I mean, would I recommend it? Not necessarily. It's one of those things where I'd say if you're really thinking about seeing it, because it wasn't the worst movie ever. If you're really thinking about seeing it, if it's something you really want to check out, you've been dying to see this movie, sure, give it a rent. Check it out. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen. It's not like I watched this movie and went, oh, that was horrible. No, I watched and just kind of went, nah, all right. Like I kind of didn't care after the movie was over. So I would say if this is something you really want to check out, if you've been dying to see it for some reason, like I had, then sure, give it a rent, check it out. It's at least worth seeing if it's something you really want to check out. But otherwise, if it's something you don't think you really want to see, if you really had no interest in it, then it's nothing you need to see. The second title I watched this week, once again out of my 250 movie horror collection set here, was Creature from the Haunted Sea, which is a Roger Corman movie. And again, I'm going to put this down, it's very big and heavy. Now, when it comes to Roger Corman movies, I find them to be very hit or miss. I've seen Roger Corman movies that I thought were absolutely brilliant. I loved them. I just can't get enough of them, and I couldn't recommend them enough. Whereas I've seen other Roger Corman movies that I had a hard time watching. They're just ridiculously bad. And Roger Corman's very much known for just busting out movies, just one after another, shooting movies at the same exact time just to get more movies made. I mean, he's just constantly throwing movies out at you. I mean, just that's what Roger Corman does. Just movie after movie after movie after movie after movie. And like I said, some are actually really good, but a lot are really bad as well. And this one definitely falls into the really bad category. Not very much in the way of horror either. The whole premise of the movie is basically some people stealing money, and there's a government on board with them, and they gotta dispose of this government, and they create this creature to start killing people off, and oh, lo and behold, this creature actually exists. The issue with this is, and that could be an interesting idea, but the problem is that this whole creature thing doesn't come in until the last 20 minutes of the movie. So you're spending this whole time watching this movie with these people trying to steal this treasure, and it's not very exciting. It's extremely boring. You're just kind of like, all right, when's the creature coming? And then when it finally does come, it's really anticlimactic, because at first you don't even kind of realize what's going on. Like I said, they create this monster, this bad-looking costume to, be like, oh, there's a creature to see. That's what's causing issues and killing people off. Oh, but then, of course, like I said, the creature turns out to really exist, which is kind of ridiculous. I mean, it's like this creature looks exactly like the creature they created. I mean, come on, but whatever. I can look past that. It's cheesy, but okay. It's just the fact that it takes so long to get to that part of the movie that by then you're kind of bored with the movie. You really don't care what's going on, and the ending's not really exciting enough for you to even really give a shit. Like I said, once a creature kind of appears, you're kind of like, oh, wait, I get it. This is a different creature. It's not the same people. You start to realize what's going on. It's just way too late. So I don't have a lot to say about this movie. All I can say is it's very boring. It takes a very long time to finally get to the creature, and once it does, very anticlimactic. So Creature from the Haunted Sea, again, which I have in my 250 movie horror collection set here, but you can get it on about a bajillion other public domain disc release. This is a public domain movie. You can get 1,000 different releases of it. I would say just stay away from this one. The next movie I checked out was Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, this year being the remake with Daryl Hannah. This is a really fun movie. This is actually the first time I watched this movie since I picked this up, and the first time I've seen it since I was a young kid. I used to watch this one every now and then on HBO. I remember seeing it on HBO, loved it back in the day, and when I came across it on DVD finally, I was really excited to pick this one up. It was definitely a title that I wanted to watch because I hadn't seen it in so long. And it certainly holds up. It's a really fun movie. It's cheesy. It's ridiculous. It's Daryl Hannah, just girl who's kind of always pushed around by her father and by her husband, becomes a 50-foot woman due to a spaceship, and starts going a little haywire. She's been pushed around all this time, and now that she's got some power, she lets it go to her head a little bit, but rightfully so. You don't ever feel bad, or you feel bad for her, but you don't ever feel like she's really a monster. You're never like, oh god, this girl is destroying things and attacking people. What a bitch. No, you're like, you feel bad for the girl. You feel bad for what happened to her, and you're very understanding as to why, now that she has this power, why she's taking advantage of it. So, great movie. I really do enjoy it. As far as this versus the original, I guess I would say the original is better. It's a fun movie as well, but it doesn't mean the remake is bad. It's certainly good. It has some great special effects in it. Special effects, super cheeseball, very, 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 very low-grade special effects in this movie. But for me, that's what makes it all the more fun. When I see Daryl Hannah driving, and it's just, a projected screen behind her, pretty cheesy. When I see this spaceship come in, it's really, really bad looking, also really fun. So, a great movie. I'd recommend it. If you like just fun B sci-fi movies, this is definitely one to watch. It will take you back to that great, 1950s feeling of great B sci-fi horror movies. So Attack of the 50-Foot Woman, again, the remake with Daryl Hannah, I'd recommend it. Then I checked out Halloween, the extended cut, I should say. Now, I was really excited to check this out because I had only ever seen these extra scenes before through my Laserdisc, my Criterion Laserdisc copy of Halloween actually does have those extra scenes that were shot on it, and when you get done watching one side of the disc, it'll play a couple of the scenes, and you watch the other side of the disc, it'll play a couple more of the scenes, and so on and so forth. So I had actually seen the extra scenes, I've just never seen them actually incorporated into the Halloween movie. Now, I was pretty excited, like I said, when I finally picked this up, because I had always wanted to see those scenes put into the movie, and it was pretty interesting. It was interesting to see these new scenes that, aren't, if you're like me and you've seen Halloween a million times, it's fun to see new scenes added. Just something different. It changes up the movie a little bit. It adds something more to it. I'm not saying the extra scenes are good. No, they do slow the movie down a bit. I definitely want to say the theatrical cut is a million times better than the extended cut. I keep saying extended cut, and I'll explain why. The theatrical cut's definitely better, but again, if you're like me and you've seen Halloween just a million times, it is sort of fun to pop this in and see the different scenes, the scenes you aren't used to seeing. It just adds something different, and it's fun for a diehard fan of Halloween. Now, when I say extended, it's because these scenes were actually shot for the TV airing of Halloween. When they showed it on TV, they obviously had to cut a lot out of Halloween, as you can imagine. Lots of stuff you can't show on TV. And as such, it actually cut the runtime down significantly. So they actually had to shoot more scenes. And what they did was, when they were filming Halloween 2, they shot those extra scenes for the TV airing, using the same cast and whatnot, and then they incorporated it into the TV broadcast of Halloween. Now, unfortunately, this isn't actually that broadcast, and I say unfortunately because I would have loved to have seen that. I would have loved to have seen the actual television broadcast, the very edited, obviously not nearly as gory and whatnot, definitely edited down, but I would have loved to have seen that edit with those scenes. I think that would have been more interesting as opposed to what you get here, which is the full Halloween movie, the movie you're used to seeing, the movie you've seen a million times before, just with those extra scenes added in, which is a cool idea, and I do like that. It is interesting to see, but at the same time, maybe it would have been pretty cool to see the actual real television edit at the same time. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but like I said, when I say extended cut, it's just the extra scenes shot for the TV airing, thrown into the Halloween movie you're used to seeing, into the theatrical cut. So, like I said, not the best cut of the movie. I definitely prefer the theatrical cut, but if you're like me, and you've seen Halloween millions of times, if you watch it every year, you're a huge fan, you love the movie, and know it backwards and forwards, it is pretty interesting to just see some extra scenes thrown in. It does add a little something more, and it is fun to watch. I think every few years I'll probably pop this cut in just to give myself something different. So the extended cut, like I said, it's not great. The extra scenes do slow things down a bit, but if you're just a big fan of Halloween, just a diehard fan, you've seen the movie a million times, it is worth picking up and checking out. Next I checked out Jack-O-Lantern and Yankee Doodle. Now obviously Yankee Doodle here has nothing to do with Halloween, but it is part of this title, and I certainly wasn't going to sit down and only watch half a VHS tape. I had to finish the whole thing, so watch them both. And what this is episodes from the Rankin Bass series, The Festival of Family Classics, which is a great series. All the stories are told in that great Rankin Bass style. The animation's done in that great Rankin Bass animated style. If you're a big fan of Rankin Bass, you're going to love this series. And these two episodes were great. Though Jack-O-Lantern here, very odd. It's not a traditional Halloween type of story. The premise of the story is about this leprechaun who lives inside this jack-o'-lantern, and he helps out this farm that's not doing so well, protects them from these witches and like ghosts that come down and hurt the farm. It's peculiar. He befriends these kids, and just really weird story. It's almost like you're watching like a St. Patrick's Day story mixed with a Halloween story. It's very peculiar, but it's Rankin Bass. If you've seen many Rankin Bass movies and shorts, as I have, you start to realize that Rankin Bass does sometimes tell some really weird stories, and this one is definitely no different. So would I recommend it? I'm going to say yes, because it's Rankin Bass. It might be a really weird, fucked up story, but it's Rankin Bass. What more can I say than that? Definitely worth checking out. Yankee Doodle, that's pretty interesting as well, but it's very basic, about some kids who helped during the Revolutionary War, and that's basically it. They help out, they fight some redcoats, and they become heroes in the end. That's it, done, the end. But still, a fun story. So I would definitely recommend checking these out. In fact, I'd recommend checking out any of the Festival of Family Classics episodes. They're all great. There are, I believe, 4 DVD releases. Unfortunately, Jack-o'-lantern is not on any of them. I do believe Yankee Doodle was on one of the releases, but Jack-o'-lantern, unfortunately, has not made it to DVD. But I'd recommend picking all those up, picking any VHS tapes you can get a hold of. It's a great, great series. It's Rankin Bass. You just can't go wrong. The next title I watched, once again, I can't hold up and show you, as actually I watched this one on my computer. For those of you who are a big fan of James Rolfe, otherwise known as the Angry Video Game Nerd, he always does a Monster Madness series during the Halloween season, where every single day of October, he talks about a horror movie or something related to Halloween. And this year he did a sequel-a-thon where he talked about all these great movies with all their sequels. And he finally got to the Night of the Living Dead series. And what he did was, instead of talking about Night of the Living Dead first and then all the sequels, he talked about all the sequels and then left Night of the Living Dead for Halloween. But what he did, instead of talking about it, he thought it was such a great movie, he really couldn't do justice talking about it. So what he did was he showed the movie in its entirety and narrated it. He gave a commentary, and it was very interesting. It's really fun to hear commentary from fans, as opposed to people who were making the movie and stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, hearing commentary from the filmmakers and the directors and the cast and everything, very interesting. You learn a lot of great stuff. But at the same time, it's always fun to hear what the fans think. And it was really interesting listening to James talk about his thoughts on the movie. He knew some history about it. He was telling history all about the movie and all kinds of interesting things. He was giving his thoughts on different scenes, how things maybe should have gone, things he would have changed, things he loved, all kinds of great things like that. So a really interesting commentary. If you're definitely a fan of Night of the Living Dead, I would recommend going to his Cinemassacre webpage. It's just cinemassacre.com. Go there, check him out, check out the video. It's definitely, again, worth checking out if you are a big fan of the movie. I love it. I definitely think it's a classic. He does as well, and he put some great commentary on the movie. So again, I would definitely recommend checking it out. So I sat down, watched the movie in its entirety with his commentary, and it was a lot of fun. I definitely look forward to him doing some more of these. I think he did one before with, I believe it was with Dracula. He did that, and that was a really great commentary as well. In fact, I think I'm going to go back and watch that. Maybe coming out sometime soon, because after listening to this commentary, maybe really want to listen to the other commentary as well. So again, great commentary, very well done, very insightful. Again, you learn a lot of history. He definitely knows his movies, tells you a lot about how the movie was made and what went on, but at the same time, he just gives his thoughts on certain scenes and the way the movie progresses and whatnot, and it's very interesting to hear that. So I'd recommend checking it out. It was great, and I had a lot of fun listening to it. Then I decided to check out another commentary with the extended director's cut of The Exorcist, which is one of my all-time favorite horror movies. This year by far is what I feel is the scariest movie ever made. I love the front here. It says the scariest film of all time, and I would have to completely agree. Experience Blu-ray at its scariest on the back. I can't agree more. I feel this movie is just extremely just creepy and scary, and every time I watch it, I get completely freaked out. After I was watching this one, I was scared to get off my couch here, because I mean, I had all the lights off down here in the library, and I was looking around like, do I want to get up off the couch? It freaks me out every time I see this movie. Scary as hell. I know some people agree, some people disagree, but I find this movie absolutely terrifying. So I was definitely interested in checking out the commentary done by the director of the film. I had never listened to the commentary before. It's one of my favorite movies. Certainly wanted to hear it. Boy, was I let down. The commentary, about 95% of the time, was just the director explaining to you what was going on. I've seen the movie. I'm watching the movie. I know what's happening. I want to hear about what went on during the filming. I want to hear stories. I want to hear things maybe he would have changed. I want to hear all kinds of goodies like that. And occasionally he would throw some of them in. Sometimes he would explain why some of the extended cuts were cut and why they're put back in. He would explain why certain things were done in certain ways. Occasionally, like I said, maybe 5% of the time was actual information like that. The other 95% of the time was just him telling you what was going on. He was narrating the movie. I know what's going on. I can see what's happening. I've seen the movie. Chances are, if I'm listening to the commentary, I've at least watched the movie once. But no, that's what he does. He just explains the entire movie to you, and it's horrible. I was getting so bored listening to his commentary because he was just telling me stuff I already knew. I already knew what was happening. I could see it for myself. I have eyes. I have ears. I know what's happening. So, horrible commentary, which is a shame because this is one of the greatest movies ever made. In my mind, the scariest movie ever made, but it also has some of the worst commentary I have ever heard. So would I recommend the commentary for this one? Fuck no, stay away from it, but watch the movie. It's amazing. And then I decided to finish up this year's Halloween Horrorthon with a classic, and that was It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. I think we all know this is a great one. Just a fantastic Peanuts special. They're pretty much all great, except for some of the newer ones, but definitely these early ones are absolutely fantastic. And It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown certainly is a classic, and for a reason. Just a great, great story. All about Linus wanting to see the great pumpkin. Of course, all the kids are going out trick-or-treating. Funny things are going there. Charlie Brown is constantly getting his rocks. Very funny moments. I absolutely, again, I love Linus in this pumpkin patch waiting for the great pumpkin to appear. Very, very funny. Great scene with Snoopy. I love what he's doing, his World War I plane battle. Very, very cool. So just a great TV special. One of the best and just a classic for a reason. It's great. I don't think I need to go into this one too much. I'm sure we've all seen at least once. And if you haven't seen it, you were completely missing out. You gotta check this one out. Again, one of the greatest Halloween TV specials ever made. And it is absolutely brilliant. See this one if you have been missing out. So there you go, guys. That's it for this year's Cinema Sickness Halloween Horrorthon. I certainly had a blast, as I do every year. I love this time of year. I love watching nothing but horror movies and Halloween-related titles for over a month. It is so much fun, and I had a great time this year. Unfortunately, I didn't watch quite as many titles as I have in the past, or as many titles as I usually do. The reason for that being is because towards the beginning of the Halloween Horrorthon, I was in Florida. I went to Disney World, so I missed out on about 2 weeks worth of movie watching. Only watched 3 titles while I was there. Watched one on the plane right down, one on the plane right back, and actually one while I was in Disney World. And that's it. So I missed about a week and a half, 2 weeks worth of movie watching, but I was in Disney World, so I can live with that if you can. I was pretty excited to be in Disney, and yeah, not the biggest deal for me. So again, I had a blast. I didn't participate in any of the usual marathons. I know a lot of people do the 100 movies in 31 days, and I participated in that in the past, and I've certainly done it. It's a lot of fun, but with these videos I make for you guys, I just don't have the time to do 100 movies in 31 days. In the years past when I participated in that marathon, what I had to do was basically come home from work and watch like 3 or 4 movies in a row. I watched a movie from the very minute I got home till I went to bed every single day in October, and it was a lot of movie watching, a lot of fun. I had a blast with it. I watched a lot of good stuff in that time period, but unfortunately, I just don't have time to make these videos and watch that many movies. It's not going to happen. These videos take time to shoot, they take time to edit, and I just can't watch that many movies. Not that I'm complaining. I don't really care. I love making these. I'd rather make videos for you guys than watch 100 movies in 31 days. I can certainly still watch a lot of movies in that time period, just not 100. I was kind of maybe hoping to shoot for 50 this year, but again, with going to Disney World, I kind of fell a little short. But what are you gonna do, guys? It doesn't matter. That's what I love about the Cinema Sickness Halloween Horrorthon. It's not about how many titles you watch. It's just about watching nothing but Halloween horror-related titles from the very first day of autumn till October 31st. Watch as many as you want. Watch 1,000, watch 2. I don't care. Just have fun with it. Keep it horror-related, keep it Halloween-related, but that's it. That's the only rules, really. Just keep it Halloween horror-related. That's all you got to do. Besides that, watch as many or as little as you want. Just have a blast doing it. Have a great time being scared. That's all that matters. And again, this year, I had a great time, and I definitely look forward to next year. I can't wait. There were also a lot of titles that I didn't get around to watching, a lot of titles that I would have liked to check out this year. But no worries. I watch horror movies all throughout the year, and I'll definitely get to them. Maybe I'd say maybe next year. I got my Christmas marathon coming up very soon. I only have maybe a little less than a month to watch some titles. Maybe I'll throw a few more horror titles in there if I can, but by next year, I'll definitely have watched a lot more horror titles that I didn't get around to watching this year. So, anyway, guys, that's it. Thank you for sticking with me during my Halloween Horrorthon. Hope you guys had a blast. Hope you guys participated and watched a lot of great movies yourself. So, like I always say, if you like this video, please give me a like. If not already subbed, please do. So, that is it. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for my next video. See ya.